episode 46 of Last Turn. I'm Bart, and as always, joined by Evan. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. It's always good to be talking about the Boomsday Project.
Yeah, this is your premier source for Boomsday Project information. And
Have you seen that Giggling Inventor card? That thing's crazy.
I actually I lost to that recently. Like since Rastakhan dropped, I lost to that card.
A 7-mana one?
A 7-mana Giggling Inventor. Yes, it was somebody playing Quest Rogue.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's insane in that deck.
Yes, it was very, very good. They were doing that with Lab Technician, another Boomsday Project card. Is that what it's called? It's the 2-mana
Lab Recruiter.
Lab Recruiter. That's the one. It's the 2-mana 3/2 that shuffles 3 copies of a card into your deck, and yeah, he just like went infinite, and that was enough to beat me.
Wait, what were you playing?
I was playing Taunt Druid.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's I guess you could have maybe, if it was late enough in the game, been able to out-taunt all of that, but
Yeah, I think so too. It was ultimately a very, very close game. It came down to like probably just a few decisions.
Lab Technician sounds like it would be a great card, though.
Yeah, that was really an interesting inclusion since that deck's just supposed to beat value decks, but like that makes the deck go infinite, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like, it kind of looks like, like if you're using this because you think it's gonna like increase your odds of drawing another copy of a minion, then like there's no way that would work, but it actually is pretty good.
Yeah,
like playing turn 3, playing a Wax Elemental and a Lab Recruiter against like Odd Paladin is like fine. You spent all your mana, you got some buddies on the board, and now maybe you'll draw more Wax Elementals.
right.
You do have draw effects. Like the Engineer, now you have more incentive to draw, and it's the body is such a nice. If it was Gang Up, you would really not be as stoked on it there, because you would have spent 2 mana doing nothing
Right.
to the board, and you can't really afford to do that against an aggro deck. So he's but then yeah, against like an Odd Warrior, that's exactly what you need to be able to win.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Odd Warrior because Super Collider's so good against minions that are all the exact same stats.
Right.
And 4 health is exactly what you want to see if you can Hero Power Reckless Flurry. So the things kind of work out perfectly for the Warrior. But just put 1 Lab Recruiter in your deck and you can't lose anymore.
Yeah, I mean the card does it did a surprising amount of magic, and I mean 2 copies are nice because then you can like truly go infinite. But
It's a workhorse.
yeah, I mean I guess like with 1 in Quest Rogue you could too. But still, anyway, yeah, very, very nifty. Very nifty to have lost to that card because otherwise I just had not seen it on the battlefield.
Yeah, unless I was guessing that maybe it was an Evolve Shaman. Because they almost are like glad it costs more. Because when you evolve, you'll just get a better minion.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
It's not like you got a little bit out of it costing more. There's definitely no way Quest Rogue got anything out of it costing more.
No, definitely not. It was just good enough. So they ran it anyway.
And that's the Boomsday Project.
It would
But
seem
also, there's Rastakhan's Rumble, which is finally here. We've been excited about its arrival, hoping it would shake some stuff up with all of its rumbles.
Indeed.
I think it mostly didn't, but
Yeah. Well, I mean it's early expansion though, and it's also the last expansion in like a given year, so it's not too surprising that we haven't seen changes, I think.
it's very difficult for them to shake up 5 sets with 1 set without breaking anything. That's
Yes.
like the key. Like they could have probably made Zihi cost 1 less or something like that, and this would be a completely different landscape, but it also would be not fun
Right.
and probably dominated by something that got the broken effect, but the other thing is that's kind of happening. There's one class that is kind of doing way better than every other class, or at least is way more popular, and that's Hunter.
Sure.
It was really really good before Rastakhan's Rumble came out. There was just this evolution of it because people like kind of knew about Spell Hunter, but it was really all about Cube Hunter for a
Right.
while,
Yeah, definitely.
and that changed the meta. There was so much Cube Hunter that Odd Paladin started getting more popular again, which had fallen out of favor when Giggling Inventor got nerfed. Um, and other decks that just were more aggro, Odd Rogue started to come back because that also got hit by the Giggling Inventor nerf. They started to come back because there was so much Cube Hunter for them to beat.
Mm.
And then other hunters even evolved and were like, well, I also need to beat the Cube Hunters, and I can actually do better than playing Cube Hunter. I can play Spell Hunter. And getting a bunch of tempo and playing 4/3/3 wolves on turn 5, I'll just beat them like that. Or even just Secret Hunter. That was another evolution. So the Spell Hunter thing was happening, and people were like, we can use Crackling Razormaw and a few other minions that are really good, and forget about the animal or the To My Side, the one that if you have no spell or no minions in your deck is better, and the Rock Delar. We can kind of drop that and just focus on really good tempo cards, and that's kind of how the Secret Hunter deck works. They
Yeah,
just
definitely.
control you so effectively, and then have these huge tempo swings like with the Spellstone. So that also evolved amongst all the Hunter decks, and then they all got a Planeswalker named Zul'jin from Rastakhan's Rumble. So that's sort of like the cherry on top that just made Hunter a really popular, really powerful class now.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I mean that card is like obviously very powerful, and I think that this is like kind of a theme in an early expansion where card evaluation in a way like card evaluation and aggro can dominate the archetypes that we're seeing. So Zul'jin is clearly strong. It like fits into an existing deck. It fits into multiple existing decks. And it does have some deck building constraints, but the way Hunter looks right now, those are not all that significant because Hunter has a ton of good spells and historically it's a secret class and has a ton of good secrets in its classic pack as well. So like you just have to run those, and then Zul'jin is good. And as long as you are playing a deck that's running those and is running like some removal or whatever and some animal companions, these are all cards that you probably would have run anyway, then
Mm-hmm.
Zul'jin is good enough. So
Yep, get some weapons in there.
yeah. I mean, it's like running a lot of those cards is already support for yourself. Like, animal companion as beasts, and Eaglehorn Bow works with like your secrets. So Zul'jin just like synergizes really well with these cards that you would have already put in your deck. So it's like it does have deck building constraints, but they don't matter.
Exactly. The decks just wanted to do that already. It's kind of like if they could have picked a card to be printed, this is what they would have chosen because I think that like just like a really insane finisher is one of the things that the decks didn't have, and that's how Odd Warrior could kind of beat them, is just going late. But now I think that's a little bit tougher to count on because
Mm.
Zul'jin gives you so much value. Like you get cards in your hand, you kill all your opponent's stuff, you get all your own stuff in minions, and you also get a bunch of secrets.
Yeah, it's I mean, it does everything that you could want it to. And Hunter Secrets are really good.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier today. Like, what's exactly going on here? Uh, for a while, they only really used Freezing Trap and Explosive Trap,
Mm.
but now they're packing Venom Strike, which summons a 2/3 poisonous beast, and Snake Trap, which summons 3/1/1 snakes. Those are both a deal at 2 mana.
Yes, definitely.
Those both are worth more than 2 mana. Are they worth 3 mana? Probably not, but they're worth more than 2. So paying 2 mana for them is great. And Hunter kind of reached this point where can just do better things than you every single turn, for like the first 5 turns, and then that is so much further ahead than you that you can't beat it. And it's gotten really good at doing that with both Spell Hunter and Secret Hunter. And that beats a lot of decks.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a huge part of it is playing the secrets to then enable your Spellstone on turn 5, which is like the best thing you can possibly do. That's what you really want to do more than anything, is play a big Spellstone exactly on turn 5. So playing secrets is the way to do that. But also you're paying less than you should for what you're getting.
Yeah. And I
So
mean, that's
you
it. That's a
get
huge
very
deal.
far ahead.
Like for a lot of decks and like a lot of games of Hearthstone, the first few turns are really tight. You know, you're basically like trying to keep pace with your opponent, and you're usually, within like half a mana crystal of being able to do that. It's very, very tight. Like you can just
Mhm.
barely play a minion and kill theirs and like keep yours around with like 1 health for them to have to kill and all that stuff. And if you can't do that, then you just get tempoed out. And like sometimes all it takes is an additional 1/1 worth of stats. I mean, Patches told us that. So
Yep.
if you had Patches and your opponent didn't, like you just generally got pretty far ahead because you were able to stick a minion when your opponent wasn't immediately.
Mhm.
So Hunter's just getting a ton of value out of these secrets, and they can dominate the early game and then just survive this middle period of the game, or maybe they wouldn't be so strong, depending on the deck you're playing, of course, because some decks are good in that period. And then late game, they have something like Zul'jin, or they have Deathstalker Rexar, which can
Mhm.
just turn the game into, something brutally impossible to win, or any advantage that you might have built up over them, they can just get back with lifesteal rush minions.
Mhm. DK Rexar is such a good card.
Yeah, it's funny how good it is compared to, I think, initial evaluations, because that was the
Mhm.
first Death Knight that was spoiled.
The first hero card ever revealed in Hearthstone.
Yep, it was that one, and it was it seemed decent. Like it does all this stuff when it comes out that Hunter usually can't do, which is pretty cool. And then you have this like slow but grindy hero power. And I think the hero power like got better when rush minions started coming out, like when rush became a mechanic.
Yes.
I feel like that really improved it because it made it, the problem with just like putting a card in your hand every turn like that is that it takes a little while for you to get value out of that. You have to like play the hero power, and then play the card. And sometimes that can be 3 turns depending on how, when you play the hero card.
Mhm.
So sometimes it could be 2 if you play the hero card in like turn 8 or whatever, turn 8 or 10. But with Rush, like, oh yeah, and then after you play the card, you have to wait to attack with it. But with Rush, you can just attack the same turn. So that can remove up to an entire turn worth of delay. And because there's like a bunch of Rush and lifesteal going around, then like you can use it as a catch-up mechanic. Not only are you clearing your opponent's minions out, but you're also recovering, any life that they might have dealt you and sort of closing the gap that might have formed in that middle of the game period.
Yeah, that's a really good point about Rush, because they definitely gave Rush to a lot of beasts.
Yeah, there really are a lot of rush minions. Like a lot of the time when I play Deathstalker Rexar, I'm thinking like, okay, I'll just get like a rush lifesteal guy and I'll get back what I need. And like it doesn't happen pretty often, but it's usually I'm usually able to get rush or lifesteal.
Yeah, usually able to get one or the other that turn, and then maybe, hopefully, do something with Taunt or Rush. Or both. There's a bear now that has Taunt and Rush.
That's true. Yeah, that card's good.
Yeah,
I've seen it around a little bit.
I'm a fan. I feel like it looks like if Quest Warrior was a thing, it would want to play that card.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's odd, so it can still use Baku and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, having a 5/7s are pretty large relative to the minions that people tend to be attacking with or beating down with, and having rush is really good, and having taunt is really good.
Yeah, that's the taunt kind of makes sure, like, okay, if I don't actually get to attack anything with it, or if I only attack a small thing like a Mana Tide Totem, like it's still pretty relevant.
Yeah.
Killing a Mana Tide with that card sounds very pleasing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the DK Rexar, it's so the hero power like grinds out anyone. So any deck that is trying to win like past turn 6 basically is gonna, like, unless they're really far ahead, gonna lose to it. Like,
Right.
if they have enough of an advantage and you don't get lucky and immediately get like an exploding bloat bat vicious scalehide, you'll be able to beat that, but pretty much everybody else is going to lose to it. Plus, it has an effect when you play it that is amazing against the kind of deck that would be trying to beat it down. It does a consecration kind of. It doesn't hit their face, but deals damage to all their minions and gives you 5 armor.
Yeah,
And so the
definitely.
two things that happen when you play it are extraordinary, like so good against the kind of decks that would have been able to beat your hero power.
Yes.
Just it's like Batman, and he's got his utility belt, and he's prepared for everything.
Yeah, it's extremely powerful. Surprisingly so.
Yeah, no, you're right. The initial value is like, wait, make a zombiest, but Hunter goes face. I wanted to deal 2 damage to them.
Yeah.
Steady shot looked better than that effect. And I think partly it was because of how Hunter had been played up to that point. So it was the stereotypical aggro face deck for a while. And then also, yeah, the rush thing. I think the abundance of rush on beasts now versus then is a big part of it. Rush
Yeah.
was that Boomsday or was that um
It was not Boomsday. I think
Ongoro?
it was not Agoro either. It was between them. I think it might have been Kobolds or whatever was after Kobolds. Was Boomsday after Kobolds?
I think yeah.
Uh,
So
yeah, this is a solvable problem with the
it
internet.
must have been Kobolds then.
I
Because
think
that
I
thing
think it
says.
was.
Oh wait, no, it was Witchwood.
Witchwood, there we go. That was the set that existed. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, that set is real. That set's great.
Yes, it
Um,
was.
and that's where Rush came from. That has like the the 2/1 Echo Rush. It's just got both of the new effects.
Yeah,
The poster child for Witchwood.
for sure. Oh, yeah, that's funny. That card just like doesn't really even see play. Um, yeah, I feel like Rush was like when they printed it mostly undertuned, but I feel like I don't know. Actually, maybe not, because it's not like they printed any like slam dunk neutral Rush minions, um, despite sort of predictions. So
Yeah, it like Scalehide is like one of the most relevant ones,
yeah, and that's
and
still not played all that often.
it's partly just because you can discover it off of
Yeah.
VK Rexar.
I mean, I guess that would be a really dangerous effect to have, like, be on an extremely powerful, like, overtuned card. Because if you had like an overtuned neutral rush minion, that could just change the way Hearthstone worked.
Yep, there would be like Blessing of Might everywhere.
Yeah, like yeah, just imagine like every deck had access to like a 3 mana 3/4 rush. I feel like this would be a different game.
With just Rush or with Lifesteal?
um, just rush.
Yeah, no, that would still be crazy because everything would just have this great removal that puts a minion on the board.
Yes.
Every class would basically compete to be the best tempo rogue,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'd be the best. You try to be the best shell for just like being able to take advantage of the fact that your turn 3 is spectacular.
which might for Druid it would probably still be play Ultimate Infestation and Twig and Malagos, but you on
Yeah,
turn 3 you would play that card.
for sure. Yeah, that's funny. Speaking of Druid, I have been playing a little bit of Taunt Druid
Hmm.
with Oakheart, not the infinite version with Undertaker, but the Oakheart sort of older school version. And
Classic.
yeah, it's pretty cool because yeah, I guess it's like not exactly the oldest version of that deck, but that does not have Ultimate Infestation in it.
Yep.
So
That I had a list with one in there for a while, and then I took it out.
yeah, it's
It's the
just not what you need.
one deck that doesn't use it.
Yeah, it's just all your stuff's so chunky, it's hard to empty your hand. Like, and by the time you manage to empty your hand, if you do that, then you kind of like don't want to just draw 5 cards.
Exactly. And like you can get so much better than a 5/5 for your mana with all the dragons in your deck.
Yeah, definitely.
Wait, are you playing the 2/14 with Divine Shield?
No, I don't think I am.
Okay, I just realized. Yeah, you. I wasn't sure if you'd be playing the Dragon Hatcher package, when instead, if you felt like it, you could take out the Dragon Hatchers and put in the 2/14s.
That's interesting. That's definitely worth considering. But I mean, Dragon Hatcher is just so good.
Yeah, I feel like if you're doing the Oakheart play, you really want it to be super impactful. And a 2/14 is not nearly as aggressive as a 2/4 that summons things that actually do attack.
Yeah, like 4/8s and 4/12s. Yeah, because I mean, so much of that deck is just being able to like chunk your opponent with your minions. Because yeah, like you could just go infinite with taunts like in late game, but if your opponent is doing something similar to that, like with Void Lords, then you might not be able to beat them once fatigue starts. But if your minions all have 4 attack, then you're actually putting on a ton of pressure.
Yep, and if you've got branching paths and stuff to threaten them with.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. So
That's
that deck was doing pretty good for me the day I was playing it.
cool. I'm glad that it's not just Malagos Druid or Togwaggle or Gonk. Have you seen the Gonk combo?
I haven't seen the Gon combo, no.
Let me tell you all about it.
Please.
It's quite delightful. It's got a card that you predicted would be good. Pounce is involved. So
Cool.
Gonk is a new legendary and priest. Wow, druid. New legendary and druid is a 4/9 that says if you kill a minion by attacking it with your hero can attack again. Your hero gets an additional attack, is basically what that functions out to be. You get one more attack this turn. So some degenerate was like, if I duplicate him and kill something, I'll get 2 attacks, I think. And they tested it, and they were right.
Wow.
So what you do, you play, your druid deck, and you ramp, and you play ultimate infestations, and you swipe your opponent's stuff, and don't let them do anything in spreading plague. And eventually, you got all your stuff in your hand, and you're ready to go. Maybe you've got a twig ready. The deck uses twig. Your opponent, say they have 3 minions. You would want to play 2 pounces, give yourself 4 attack. 2 claws, give yourself another 4 attacks. So now you have 8 attack. And then hero power with the Malfurion Death Knight. So you're getting 3 attack from the upgraded hero power. So now you got 11 attack. Now you play, I guess if we're out of mana for a Gonk, we would have maybe wanted to play 1 claw and then play Gonk and attack one of their minions with the twig, right? Then we can get more mana. And we'll get our attack back because we killed one of their minions with our 12 attack because we have the twig and 11 attack. And then you can play Flabindus Floop. You could play Faceless Manipulator. You could play both of them, which would be nuts. You could play Prince Taldaram. And from that point, after duplicating Gonk, if you attack one of their minions, you're going to get another attack that can go to their face for each minion you kill. So let's say they've got 3 minions left. You attack each one of them. You can now attack their face 4 times. So if you have 11 attack, you deal 44 damage.
That's so funny that it stacks like that.
It's very silly. Like, when I looked at it, it's like, there's no way it works that way. Because they've made a lot of things, like Bran isn't like that. Multiple Brans doesn't give you multiple battle cries. It just,
Right.
You can only use one. I think, am I thinking of that correctly?
I actually don't know.
Well, there's definitely something about, like, cards saying, duplicate, or you can do this twice. Like, veteran, something. He's a 2-mana 2/3 from the Grand Tournament that used to say you can hero power an additional time, but they eroded it to be you can hero power twice. And it's because if you had multiple copies of him out, you could hero power too many times, and it was a problem.
Right.
So now, even if you have two of them out, they both say twice. So you're not going up to 3. I assumed Gonk would be like that, but apparently not. So now your question might be, well, Evan, this all sounds great, but what if they don't have minions? That's why we're playing Leroy Jenkins.
That's so silly.
Yeah, you play the Leroy, and they're like, "What's going on here?" But you're just getting 6 damage in addition to your 2 attack targets.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I think that it's mostly worse than all the other combos that Druid does, but it still doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah, I mean it seems like a little bit of a stretch. It's definitely
Mhm.
pretty silly though. I mean it can do infinite damage, and who knows, maybe there's a tuned version of the deck that's actually playable. Because Togbaggle seemed silly when it came out too.
This is
So
I think that's a very fair way to look at it. There might be a bit less gimmick to it. Maybe this is finally how Muck Hunter comes to the scene.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's interesting. That's I mean Leroy's probably a little better.
Yeah,
But running multiple copies of that kind of effect could just be what you want, depending on what the meta looks like.
and
Yeah, that's interesting.
it could potentially do way more damage than Malagos.
It's true. I think Hearthstone is sort of in general shifted towards like synergy based decks, just being kind of the dominant force. Like I've noticed that in card evaluation that sometimes just a good solid value card and just running a deck filled with like good solid value cards is not enough. There are some meta games where that was the case, like Knights of the Frozen Throne, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But you basically had Tempo Rogue, which was exactly that, and a combo priest deck that wasn't that at all. But for the most part, I noticed that like synergy is powerful in Hearthstone. So even these decks that just sound like you have dumb combos that probably won't work, like no, they actually tend to do pretty okay.
It's coming. Yeah, I think that you're right about how it's shifted that way.
Yeah,
Um, all the decks are just like they get to the late game, no matter what deck, and start doing ridiculous stuff.
yeah, definitely.
I guess maybe like you could say not Odd Paladin, but I don't know, like throwing out a Vine Cleaver and then swinging and playing a level up the next turn is like pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
I think and that's just a sign of how much synergy there is. When you get to really high mana, really crazy stuff starts to happen.
Yeah.
Um, uh, we were talking about Druid. Oh, right. So Gonk so the deck also has Pounces and Claws, which can be handy against an aggressive deck, like just having a cheap way to kill one of their guys. Granted, you want to have them to combo, but against an aggressive deck, you don't even necessarily need to beat them that way. You can just like play Druid.
Yeah, sure.
So there might be something, sort of like how you can Moonfire stuff in the Malagos deck early game if you have to. This has 4 of those instead of 2, so you can kind of use them a bit more liberally individually, and one of them actually gives you armor. So interesting to
Yeah,
ponder.
for
Um,
sure.
so Druid is mostly doing what it was doing before, but the Undertaker combo with Hadronox's Death Rattle and Astral Tiger, which shuffles it back into your deck. That was a cool new Druid deck. But I think otherwise Druid's mostly doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, the Undertaker deck does look pretty cool. I have lost to that before, but and I feel like it's a strong. I feel like it's pretty strong in doing what it's supposed to do, but
Mm-hmm.
it is like quite a bit slower than the standard Tantra decks to like get that combo off the ground.
Yes.
Um, it requires kind of a lot more, and like you don't have witching hours. Sometimes just like witching hour cube is all you really need to do to win the game. Like it's pretty rare that you need to do a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Though in the mirror, you do often want more than that. So that is like a pretty strong thing to be doing under some circumstances against like infinite decks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that like is definitely worth keeping in mind and may eventually have a place. But I feel like standard Tantra is just a little more powerful. And if I needed to go super infinite like that, I'd probably just play Shutterwalk anyway.
Shutterwalk seems really good right now. So to undertake a combo, since you don't need to use Witching Hour, you get to use Spreading Plague,
Yes,
which is awesome.
it's awesome.
Um,
Yeah.
and the list I saw that Dog was using had a Savage Roar in it. So
Oh yeah, I mean with Spreading Plague that makes sense.
it seems like it's almost like Token Druid and Taunt Druid's baby.
Yeah, I mean
In a way.
that's it's if you're running Spreading Plague, like that's cool. It doesn't fuck up your Witching Hour, but it kind of fucks up your Hadronox, like because you could just roll a bunch of 1 power minions and that kind of sucks.
This is
But
true.
if you had Savage Roar, then that's actually not really true. You can still just blitz your opponent down.
That's, I think, the way that it does try to win is to have this blitzy turn. But rather than chunking them with a whole bunch of dragons and stuff all of a sudden, it's leaning more on Branching Paths buff and Savage Roar as like a surprise win.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Because you could still just win out of nowhere with that.
And it's using 2 ultimate infestations, so
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that makes more sense in an infinite deck though, because you kind of want to get to the end of your deck faster.
yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't know which of those is superior. We'll see. It'll also depend how they perform against other stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Undertaker sounds again slower, so it seems. I guess you're running Spreading Plague though, so who knows if that has a better game against aggro. You could probably also run Malfurion.
Yes, definitely run Malfurion. You can, and if you don't want to spoil your pool, you can just make the 1/2 poisonouses.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. That's interesting. It seems like you're kind of just doing a lot of the same stuff as well, but I think most classes are. Paladin is another notable example of one such class.
Yeah, well, not me. So I crafted the Undertaker for Paladin.
Oh, cool.
Because it's just so adorable. I want to say good, but it's not. With Immortal Prelate, which is my favorite card from the new set. So Immortal Prelate, in case you're not familiar, and you do need to know exactly what it says, is a 1/3 for 2 in Paladin with Death Rattle. Shuffle this minion into your deck. It keeps all of its enchantments. So that's part of the Death Rattle. That's included in the Death Rattle text, is that last bit. That's what the Death Rattle does, is retains the enchantments. And the Undertaker, he's an 8 mana, 8/5 when you play him. His battle cry is that he gets the Death Rattles of 3 of your friendly minions that have died this game.
Oh, is that an enchantment?
It is.
Oh, that's so silly.
So if your Immortal Prelate died, and you play the Undertaker, it'll get the Immortal Prelate Death Rattle, and any other, like if you played a Deranged Doctor, which is an 8/8 that when it dies you gain 8 health, it'll gain that. And then when it dies, it'll keep those. You could also play like a Spikeridge Steed on it, or a Blessing of Kings, or you could play the Shield Bearer, Stalwart Shield Bearer, 2 mana, 2/3, give it Taunt. It's going to keep all of those things because of Immortal Prelate's Death Rattle. It dies, goes back in your deck, you play it again. It currently has the Immortal Prelate Death Rattle and the Deranged Doctor Death Rattle. When you play it, the Undertaker's Battle Cry goes off again, and it gets Immortal Prelate again, and it gets Deranged Doctor again. So now if it dies, you'll gain 16 health.
Yeah, that's really silly.
The Immortal Prelate duplication doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't say shuffle a copy in. It does say shuffle this. So once this is gone, the Immortal Prelate can't trigger. You don't get 2 Undertakers in your deck. I really hoped it would work like that, but it does not. But you can just keep, every time you play it, it just gets more of, if you played one of the eggs, like the Paladin 05 egg that makes an 8/8, you're getting an 8/8 every time.
Yeah, I mean that seems silly.
It's very silly. But the silliest part, save the best for last. Silver Vanguard is a 7 mana 3/3 with Death Rattle, recruit an 8 cost minion. The Undertaker costs 8. So
oh wow.
what I did is I had Silver Vanguard.
I guess Deranged Doctor also costs 8.
It does, but
Oh,
I
man.
haven't actually used that card.
I see.
I'm not that deranged. Silver Vanguard and Mortal Prelate have died. Play the Undertaker, and then play Adaptation on it, which is 1 mana, Adapt a minion, and I gave it Taunt. My opponent has some minions out, and they attack my The Undertaker and kill it, and then they try to attack me. But they have a problem. Because
Just immediately summons himself.
Death Rattle has now recruited an 8/5 Taunt. So they're like, okay, and they kill that, and they try to attack me. But they have a problem. They don't realize it. I still have an 8/5 Taunt.
That's really, really cute.
And yeah, they can't attack me ever again.
That's so funny. I love it. That's such a good version of that deck. I tried playing just like Prelate sort of tempo, but again, kind of going back to what I was saying, like it was too fair. It didn't matter enough of the time to just be Blessing of Kingsing like Prelates and trying to use Call to Arms. That seldom actually came together.
I also rarely could make that quite work. And I did a lot of Immortal Prelate experimentation without the Undertaker. Basically, like, debating if I should try and make this... Because I wasn't even sure if this would work before I crafted the Undertaker. And then I saw the Druid deck, and I was like, oh, okay. This is in a deck. I don't need to feel dumb about crafting this legendary now. And then I immediately used it in the Paladin deck. But
That's awesome.
I got to feel a little less bad about spending the dust on him. But it's got a very cute interaction. I'm hoping I can maybe find something else cute there. But in the meantime, it's mostly something that I lose every casual game with. It's definitely not ready for the latter.
That's the spirit. Yeah, that seems incredibly weak to silence.
Yeah, well, it is. Though I've been really good at like they'll silence my Silver Vanguard, or I'll like buff my Prelate and they'll silence my Prelate. That doesn't matter. It doesn't have to have any of those buffs. They don't know that the Undertaker is coming. So
Undertaker costs 8, right? Maybe
Yeah.
maybe Baleful Banker could help mitigate your silence problem a little bit, though that does make your recruit itself thing a little less consistent.
yeah, I think that if I really needed more copies of him, I would want to use Augmented Elec.
Yeah.
That's another card that's crossed my mind to include with like Immortal Prelate or something like that.
Yeah, I mean the one problem with that is you'd have to like space that out over multiple turns.
Yeah, it's really the key is to make them use all their silences before you play it. That's the only thing. But I've gotten people to, you play something, you got off your Stonehill Defender and Spike Ridge Steed it, and they're like, uh-oh, and they'll polymorph that, and you're like, oh, okay, one down, one to go.
Sure. And I guess if nobody else is playing the deck, then like nobody's gonna know what they have to play around.
Yet, so far, I have not bumped into another The Undertaker Immortal Prelate Paladin.
Yep, this is the first time I've heard of it.
But it's definitely very fun. And I'm hoping I can... Oh, and so the third Death Rattle in the deck is Meat Wagon. So it'll also keep pulling out your Immortal Prelate.
Oh, that's
Which
cute.
hopefully you gave that Spike Ridge Steed, so you'll actually have two... you kind of have a pair of infinite blockers.
No, that's my Silver Vanguard Meat Wagon. That's my kind of deck. That sounds really, really good.
It's so powerful to spend 7 mana on a 3/3 that you actually don't want its Death Rattle to go off.
That's amazing.
You can only really play it if you've already drawn to Undertaker.
Yeah, that's pretty miserable, but also quite good.
Though actually, if I did have a Baleful Banker, I could let it die, pull a blank to Undertaker, and then shuffle a copy in. So there's another purpose for that card, but anyway, it's other people are playing Baku. I don't know if they got anything from Rastakhan. Odd Paladins?
Yeah, but they don't really need anything. I don't know if there's like, I'm sure that, I don't know, I've kind of always said about that deck that it almost just doesn't matter what cards are in it. So Um, I'm sure that there are some lists that are running some Rastakhan's cards, but like it's not super important to do that.
Yeah, I can't think of anything really big that they got. I guess if
Yeah, not
you're
off the top of my head.
a Greed Meister, you'd play the 1 mana weapon that deals 5 to you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I feel like that deck doesn't need that though.
No, it's not even very good.
Yeah, I saw it, and I mean, I think 2/2 weapons are just they need to give you something else for them to be played. You know, like Jade Claws. But
Yeah. I mean, or you need, like, if Paladin had Upgrade.
oh, sure. Yeah, yes. If Paladin had upgrade, then that card would probably be like fantastic.
Or
But it does
Bloodsail
not.
Cultist. Do you remember that card?
I do.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was gross.
Yeah,
So,
I played a lot of Pirate Warrior.
same. No regrets. Paladin mostly doing the same thing. Rogue, not this. So this is probably like the biggest like development I would say of the new set is Kingsbane Rogue becoming very popular.
Yeah, it's interesting. It turns out that that draw a pirate and 2 minion that draw 2 pirates and a weapon card is seen play in the deck.
Yep, it's a key thing to its being more relevant, I think, and them
Yeah,
just being
raiding party.
stronger. Raiding party,
Yeah, so
yes.
the discussion we had during our last episode was like whether, you know, raiding party, whether you wanted to use the raiding party package or like a shiny finder and uh the 4/2 package. The recruiter, is that what is it?
Elven
Elvish
Minstrel?
recruiter? Elven Minstrel, that's the one. Whether you wanted to like which one of those packages would be better for you. And the answer is actually you just use raiding party and shiny finder.
Yeah, it turns out you just use both.
Yeah. So it's other than that, you know, Kingsbane's still doing the same thing. You're trying to just make a gigantic lifesteal weapon that never goes away, and like doomerang your opponent's minions with it, and all kinds of really stupid stuff. And it's immune to silence.
It's immune to a lot of things in the end, even
Yeah,
weapon destruction.
yeah, exactly.
The consistency of getting the weapon means that they can play their buffs a lot earlier. Like, there were definitely times for a Kingsbane Rogue where they have multiple weapon buffs in their hand. They don't have the Kingsbane. So they're, like,
Mm,
not able to do anything, which is extremely inefficient. And that's a good way to lose. But now that they have all these ways to get the weapon, that's never happening. And then they also have a ton of minions very consistently. You know, Raiding Party is 1 card for 3 cards. That's great.
yes.
That's excellent. Um, and some pirates will buff your weapon, but now they're also getting greenskin can be a really big improvement. Not that significantly reduces how frequently you have to spend time conjuring your weapon up again. So
Mm,
getting to him fast is actually a really good thing for the deck. And you can now run Dread Corsairs, which are 3/3 taunts that cost less based on your weapon's attack power, which that's what you spend all of your cards on, is increasing your weapon's attack power. So now you can, even though you just spent 3 mana on a spell that put nothing out on the board, there's a good chance to get a minion that costs 0. So you actually don't fall too far behind on tempo. And I think that's a key reason why they don't roll over to aggro nearly as badly as they were before.
yeah, definitely. I mean, that's like it's very important. Just having access to more bodies is very good, and having access to your weapon more consistently is also really good.
It seems like a fun deck to me, but I like playing the Undertaker and Immortal Prelate, so I'm not sure everyone
Sure.
feels that way. And Quest Rogue, um, but its abundance will, I think, then be met by a frequency in Shudderwalk, which you
Mm.
mentioned. If I want to play a combo deck and play Shudderwalk, I think a lot of people probably are gonna come to that conclusion too.
Yeah, I mean, it does very good in the end game because it like kind of you know, if you're playing against a Go Infinite deck, Shutterwalk just ramps up really fast and it kind of ignores whatever your opponent's doing. And like if your opponent's strategy is to go infinite, they're probably not like blitzing you in 1 turn. So it's not like they can just win through your Shutterwalk once you start doing it. Like you're just going to be doing 1 million damage to them every turn, and they're going to lose very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, once you start going off, like the Kingsbane, it takes a lot to get it above 14 attack, so you're always going to need multiple turns. At least 2, if not 3.
Yeah.
And so the Shudderwock deck basically should annihilate most other combo decks. Like if Taunt Druid continues to be popular, I think Shudderwock would be pretty happy about that.
I think so too.
Hex,
yeah, that's exactly the kind of deck that it beats.
Hex is so good against the strategies, the respective strategies, and then they're also just what they're doing is what you want them to be doing, which is basically nothing. Your end game will beat everything.
Yeah.
Then Kingsbane Rogue, they're also sort of like doing what you want them to do, which is just playing derpy, beatable minions. They're playing 2 mana 2/2s, 3 mana 2/4s. They're not doing anything impressive. You're so ready to beat that. You're so prepared to play Saronite Chain Gangs and Mind Control Techs and Volcanoes and Lightning Storms and just, make their minions meaningless and draw all of your stuff and just beat them with Shudderwock.
Yeah, it's good against a lot of stuff. And you've Healing Rain in there too.
Yeah, but the main reason I think Shudderwock just completely closes out any Kingsbane opponent is Glacial Shard.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that really, there comes a point where once your combo starts, you just freeze them, and they have no chance of recovering and beating you, in the one turn window you might give them.
Exactly. The weapon destruction might not work, but infinite freeze, it does actually stop the Kingsbane combo. And that's essentially what you'll be doing when you start Shudderwocking. So it's just they can't unfreeze themselves. So they're screwed. And if you just save your Glacial Shards for when they have a big weapon, you're going to get so much tempo out of your 1 mana 2/1. It's going to be insane. And you can even do it that's when you Zola your Glacial Shard against the Kingsbane Rogue. You're definitely going to want to try and rumble your Glacial Shard, but if you just keep sharding them, it's going to be like they were AFK.
Yes. Yeah, they're not going to be their deck doesn't do anything anymore.
So that I could see being something that happens over the next few weeks is a resurgence of Shudderwock in face of the Kingsbane Rogues and the Taunt Druids.
Yeah, it's always out there. It's always lurking. Definitely, it can do something that a lot of other decks can't do. So that makes it always a contender. It has incredibly strong inevitability.
It's it's hard to say if it's the best inevitability period, but there's not really anything else that can do a more explosive thing at the end.
Yeah, certainly not. I mean, I think Quest Rogue is another good example of an inevitability deck.
Yeah,
but I think Shudderwock's definitely more explosive
with Lab Recruiter and the Death Knight making your deck infinite.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, so that's pretty interesting. Shudderwock's also going to be around for a while, right? Isn't Witchwood surviving your rotation?
Yes. Though, do we have Grumble still too? Where'd Grumble come from? Was that also Witchwood?
It's a great question. I have no idea where Grumble came from.
Let me see here.
Let's go to the old internet.
Let's type Grumble in, see what we get.
Yeah.
Probably some kind of cat meme. Kobolds and Catacombs.
Kobolds.
So that survives, right?
I don't know.
We're so bad at this.
Yeah, I actually have no clue. We can resolve this probably by looking at when the sets are released or something.
I think that
it was released in December, so I don't think so.
I think we're keeping Witchwood, Boomsday, and Rastakhan, so we will be losing Kobolds. So Grumble will be gone.
Well, I mean, that's a shame.
But yeah, you could just play 8/8 Shudderwocks that your Bog Slosher returned to your hand.
Yeah.
Have you seen any Shudderwock Shamans, and are they playing that card? I
have not seen a Shudderwock Shaman play that card. I did see Kelesith Shaman play that card.
Kelesith Shaman, this is just aggro, basically?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty spicy.
Yeah, it was it's probably not like that good, but I guess like in an aggro deck, that's not terrible if you have like decent battle cries just to have that card in there. But with Kelesith, you can do something pretty slow, but also pretty cool.
Pretty filthy.
And yeah, unlike Shadow Step, it actually, the Bog Slosher develops a minion.
And it also makes your other guy even bigger.
Yeah, exactly. So
Bog Slasher
eventually
with
you'll get
Glacial
somebody.
Shard seems dank.
Oh yeah, that seems awesome because you get a 1 mana guy back and he's just like suddenly chunky.
Spellbreaker for 1.
Yeah, very very good.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard the word on Bog Slosher, but I could see having the Kelesith Bog Slasher combo in your Shudderwock deck being good. I could see having Saronite Chain Gang with Bog Slasher being good. But we've discussed this, how the Bog Slasher can kind of not ruin your combo, but like kind of mess it up and give you a 9 mana Shudderwock instead of giving you a 1 mana Shudderwock. So that could be bad and potentially fatal. Is that so inconvenient and going to happen often enough that you don't want 4 or 5 Saronite Chain Gangs? I haven't played nearly enough Shudderwock Shaman to know. I didn't craft an Electra, so I basically haven't played it since Boomsday came out. So I don't really know. I don't know what the conclusion is on that card, but it's definitely interesting. It's definitely one of the better elementals they've given Shaman lately.
Yeah, I mean, it's got an interesting effect, and I think that matters a lot. Like, just having a variety of effects is nice for a particular minion type, I guess. It's like, or just having a variety effect in a certain class of cards makes that class of cards better. So elementals being a class of cards, that's a good thing.
They tend to have good battle cries.
It's true. Yeah, definitely. And that's like great for Shaman, given that they have Shudderwock, and that's now part of the class identity. So, pretty interesting. What's Warrior up to?
I believe just being odd and playing Fatigue. I don't think that the dragons came together.
No, it's not too surprising. Wario. Oh my god, I've been playing a lot of Smash. Warrior. I've been doing it probably more than the Hearthstone.
Oh, I missed.
Warrior is it's kind of just hasn't had a tempo deck in a little while.
Which it used to have like the best one.
Yeah, the tempo deck, but now it hasn't had that for a bit. Yeah. It's kind of they've been giving it cards and archetypes, and it just like hasn't really worked out very much for the class. Like it gave it, it kind of gradually built itself up like an odd deck and also just some kind of control deck, but with taunts. But like none of them have really ever been that good.
The archetypes that Blizzard pushed, I mean, the Frozen Throne one was pretty bad. In execution, at least. Damaging your minions, but they need to survive.
Oh, yeah. Forget it.
Rotface is cute and has been in some interesting decks, but almost every other card that was like doing that from that set was just useless. And then we have dragons now. And also just like... It's not better than getting 4 armor off your hero power. That's just is so good.
Yeah, that does the job pretty often. It like helps you survive against aggro and probably gives you a better chance of beating that type of deck. But going late with Warrior is a tough play when you have Shudderwock and like Kingsbane and Taunt Druids going around.
Yep, you will basically stand no chance against any of those.
No, exactly. Like if it comes time, down to late game and you're both kind of showing what's in your hand, then you're going to lose to the guy who's making just tons of 4 power minions or is draining you for 30.
Yeah. The Druid problem used to be solvable if you could get some cornered sentries, but now if you face the Undertaker, they're not using Witching Hour, so giving them 1/1 Raptors doesn't interrupt anything.
Yeah,
So that's one problem there, and then yeah, it's just hopeless against a Shudderwalk Shaman or a Kingsbane Rogue.
yeah,
They
definitely.
can't
It's
do anything.
unfortunate. I mean, who knows? Maybe something will come about, like Rush Warrior or something else dumb.
Akali's a really good card.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
It just doesn't like it looks it's very fair, you know. It's like
Yeah,
not super synergistic. It's not Carnivorous Cube. It doesn't set you up for this crazy series of events. It just like kills a thing and it gives you a good thing. But like a good rush minion doesn't kill your opponent. It can't go face.
yeah,
It's getting a big rush minion is relatively fair. It's not like playing Katharina and pulling out King Crush.
right, for sure. Which is, that is another thing that Hunter's doing a lot of. We kind of focus on spells, but there's a lot of giant dinosaurs going around.
Yeah, I actually only been playing against Spell or Secret Hunters, but I assume that Cube Hunter is still being played with, and I'm sure they're using Zul'jin too.
Yeah, as is like not the it's not running ooze, but like a sort of recruit hunter with Silver Vanguard is a deck that people were playing on sort of the first few days. I don't know
Hmm.
if it survived past that, but I played a bunch of it and did pretty well with it.
And what 8 drops were you going for?
You definitely Devil Source.
Okay, so
Um,
it's got Vanguards and Devil Swords, and then the Revenge of the Wild.
no, I tried running a copy of that, and it ends up just sitting in your hand, not doing
Oh,
anything.
that's too bad. That card seems fun.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I wasn't playing it right, but it felt like most of the time you really just wanted like a play dead, or you wanted something else like another Devil Sword in your hand. Uh, but Undasta was really good in that deck, and that card in general has been awesome.
I was about to say, hey, Undasta must be in there.
Yeah, that card is. I played also just some like regular rolled cube hunter, and Undasta is fantastic in that deck as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really pleased. I kind of like didn't notice that card when I was looking at all the other cards, or like I did and I brushed over it, but that card's excellent.
He looks like a cyborg T-Rex to me.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know
Very,
what's
very
going on
silly.
with that art. This is not the Boomsday Project.
He found his way out of Boomsday. Um,
Or is it?
yeah, I don't know. That is we will have to figure that one out later.
Oh, you know what?
Um,
Somewhat popular for a few days was Exodia Paladin, Combo
yeah, I
Paladin.
lost to that a couple times.
The addition of Timeout seemed to and Flash Heal. That's huge. The one that not Flash Heal. What's that card called? The one that heals 4 and you draw?
Flash of Light.
Flash of Light. Okay, I was close. I
You
was
were close.
close. Excellent card for that combo deck.
Yeah, it really does the trick. I mean, that's awesome because like there are a lot of kinds of decks that just want cantrips, but Loot Hoarder is like probably the best cantrip around. The card's exceedingly mediocre.
It's pretty
So
bad.
yeah, Flash of Light is great when you're that kind of deck. When you're the kind of deck that wants to run cantrips, Flash of Light's pretty much exactly what you want. It buys you time and it draws you a card.
It's it's beautiful. Like the Uther and all the um knights and stuff are like the eggs and the cheese and other stuff in your omelet. And Flash of Light is like the butter on the skillet.
Mm,
You need that. It's a little thing. It's not the main thing, but you really miss it if it's not there.
yeah,
And
definitely.
things
The
just
butter's delicious.
yeah, exactly. You could put it on other stuff too. You could put it on toast.
Right? Exactly.
You could put it on your Immortal Prelate the Undertaker deck. You
Yeah.
could put it anywhere, but it's definitely the kind of grease that a combo deck like that needs. That other classes have that kind of card, you know. Like Freeze Mage existed at least partly due to cards like Arcane Intellect. You know, Paladin has always had to try and struggle if it wants to draw and like find a way, like Divine Favor. You have to play the rest of your hand. Solemn Vigil, you need a bunch of stuff to die. They never just give
Or
Paladin.
Acolyte and Wild Pyromancer.
Yeah, they don't give Paladin cards for free. often, but this is one of those few cases.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Paladin's a cool class. It's kind of able to do everything a little bit and a lot of different deck types reasonably well, and it still has kept that class identity a little bit like Druid.
Yeah, it's like bad Druid.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Paladin and Druid are my most played classes. Paladin, I have more games with than Druid though.
Oh my.
Yeah, like it's my only class with over 1,000 games. Um,
I'm definitely up there with
but
Paladin.
yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, I think I played a lot of mid-range in Angora.
Yeah, that
I think
was
that's where a lot of this came from.
I and Light Fuse Stegodon in the Dude Paladin decks
Oh yeah,
before they
yeah. I played a
became
bunch of
even and
even as
odd.
well. Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, Fuse Second was seeing play in some of the even builds as well, because it's just like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Card's great.
But it's a good card even with just like 2 targets. It does its job. So Mage is doing some new stuff. Odd Mage is a deck that was like pretty heavily theory crafted, I guess, apparently during spoiler season, and day one sort of hit the ground running. A lot of people were playing Odd Mage and just like aggressive or mid-range type versions of it.
hmm
So it has a bunch of the cards that were released in this set that are odd and synergized with your hero power. So it's running those. Mage happens to have a bunch of other nice odd cards, including, is it Dragon's Fury, the 5 mana card that reveals a spell from your
Yep.
deck? Yeah, so that in more controlling versions of the deck could run that. It can also run Flame Strike, so that's pretty cool. It's rare that you see an odd deck that has access to such amazing controlling tools.
hmm
Most odd decks are just kind of aggressive decks.
hmm
Um, so yeah, Odd Mage is definitely seeing a little bit of play. I haven't really encountered it too much since day one, but I think it is still quite common. So my experience maybe not representative.
hmm
But yeah, they're also definitely summoning Ragnaros.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, for
See
sure.
Rags
It's
back.
cool to see Ragnaros. Yeah, definitely.
He's squishing my immortal prelates.
Yeah, it's so it's funny how they found a way to bring old Hall of Famed or wild cards back, like through other cards. That's just so interesting.
It's really cool. I'm really glad they did that.
Yeah, I like that too. Like turning a Noitron into a token and turning Ragnaros into a token. Like that's really, really cool.
It's kind of like a reward for the longtime players almost, which feels nice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's something for everyone. It's nice because like it gives you a little bit. It makes the cards loaded when you're evaluating them because then you think about like how good that old card was. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes it easier or harder to evaluate. It certainly makes it a different experience than just seeing a totally new card.
hmm
But yeah, I think it's good for everyone. It's obviously good for newer players because it's new cards. It's good for older players because it's memories. But yeah, this is a pretty cool addition to Mage. Also, I mean, that card is not only good in an odd deck. Any kind of slow deck that just plans to play the game for a long time will eventually be able to summon Ragnaros.
With
So,
Janalai.
yep.
I think that mostly it's being determined that Control Mage is still the way to go, and that
It's not surprising.
Frost Lich Jaina is just the best way to win with Mage. I don't know though if that means you need Baku or not, because you do get a lot of nice stuff like Blizzard if you play not
Yeah,
odd.
Frostbolt, Fireballs.
Yeah, I mean, Control Mage doesn't play those cards,
Mm.
but there's still Saronite Chain Gang plays that. Prince Keliseth that plays that. Is that better than having the improved hero power? I'm not sure. I mean, being able to Janalai so much earlier with the advanced hero power is really appealing.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you can draw
Um,
more by using the kitty cat.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not clear that you would benefit enough from just having the enhanced hero power in a more controlling deck. Like it almost, I guess it helps you keep the board in early turns a little bit better. So maybe it would depend on what the metagame looks like. But the deck's already filled with board wipes, so it's not even clear if that's worthwhile.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't really help you against like a Shudderwock Shaman.
Yeah, I think you'd rather just have like a play on turn 2, like a minion, and just wait to turn 5 to wipe the board, like then to maybe kill 1 or 2 more things with your hero power.
Yeah, because they can play Raven Familiar, but Control Mage is weird because you also don't want to draw too much.
That's true.
But it doesn't look like Tempo Mage is really doing anything right now. I thought maybe that Spellzerker, the 2-mana 2/3 that has spell damage +2 while it's damaged, would make Tempo Mage something people want to try out again, but it doesn't seem that way.
No, alas.
Alas, I'm trying to figure out another class to use that card in. It's so good with Swipe, right?
Oh sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, Druid, right?
But why play a 2-mana
could...
2/3 in Druid?
Yeah, it's hard to and Priest already has Velen Malagos.
Yeah.
So you don't really need to those kind of would be the other classes. I don't think Shaman has access to enough burn in Standard.
It's so good with Totemic Smash, though.
Hmm.
I was about to say that would be great in even Shaman, except Totemic Smash is odd. You could have fat zaps.
The fattest zaps ever. Damn, those zaps are fat.
Check out these fat zaps. I got a spell Zerker, I'll zap it, so now I have spell damage +2, and I'll zap your minion for 4 damage. It's can you just zap my guy twice? Shut up! Spell Zerker's good.
Yeah.
If Consecration does 4 damage, that's nuts. I don't know. I'm trying to find it. That's interesting. Maybe even Paladin with Consecration.
Yeah, but you still have just equality and Wild Pyromancer and stuff.
I mean, aggro.
Oh, interesting.
Tempo. Because the Tempo version does already use Consecration.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it can give you a lot of tempo.
Alright, it's just a very good card for dominating the board. It just does a lot of stuff.
You can make your Holy Wrath deal 2 more damage.
I lost to somebody. They Holy Wrath me for 25 with Shrivala.
Oh no, that's not how it was supposed to be, Bart. I'm so sorry.
It was unreal. They were playing some. I wish I could remember the details better. They were playing some kind of control deck, but they never they were playing kind of a control Exodia type deck, and they stuck out Uther, but I stabilized against it and basically made it so that they would never be able to get 2 guys on the board at once.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget exactly. Oh, he played Shrivala and he Baleful Bankered it when he had no cards in deck.
Oh no.
And then he Holy Wrathed me.
Oh no.
I was it was looking so good too. I was not going to lose that game, and then I lost it. It was
degenerate.
It was pretty disappointing because it all happened so fast. I just never saw it coming, and then I just got bonked for 25.
Shrivala, cool. Baleful Banker, Holy Wrath with nothing in your deck.
That's the combo. I mean, Paladin needs those cantrips for something, and it's drawing out. That might be the dumbest thing that I've seen.
That's pretty freaking stupid.
It was. I lost to it. It was awesome, but I think that's probably the dumbest thing I've seen this expansion. Now that you mention it,
fun way to use the fact that Shrivala costs less is now I can banker it in the same turn.
Now I can bonk you for 25 faster. Yeah, it was cool.
I forgot to mention this, but in the Undertaker deck, I'm using the 2 adaptations. So if you can't stop a Spellbreaker, but if your opponent's running Polymorphs, you play adaptation on the Undertaker and give it can't be targeted by spells.
Oh, that's excellent.
So I had that on an Immortal Prelate once. I gave it a Spikeridge Steed and a few Sound the Bells. This was an earlier list that I'd Sound the Bells in. Ding dong! And I adapted it and I got Shroud. I was oh man, that's good. So that's another potential way to make the deck less janky, but it's still, 3 out of 10 times you'll get the thing you need. Not very effective solution.
No.
So we talked about Mage, Hunter, Rogue, Paladin. Warlock is doing Zul'jin mostly.
Yep, I mean, that's a strong deck, and it was before the expansion a good deck, so it's not surprising that that's seeing play at the beginning of the expansion.
Aggro tends to be good at the beginning.
Yep, especially because there were a lot of cards that people wanted to try, so like this expansion shook up the first few weeks metagame quite a bit. So aggro decks are just good, and Zul'jin is fantastic. You know, that deck has so much gas just because you have your hero power.
Yeah, I don't know if they're using that new 1 mana card that you kill one of your minions and all your other guys get +1/+1.
I have not seen it. I've still been trying to think about that card. They did get like, you know, there is a neat new egg that blows up into 3/1/1s.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be fantastic with that card, but
that.
I don't think it's great for that. I just don't think that's enough to make the deck run.
I agree.
So like you'd need more synergy than just that.
Yeah,
so
just a couple.
I kind of need to lab that one a bit.
Couple 2/2s isn't exactly what you need.
Yeah, exactly. Like if your big game is to like some games on turn 3 to just have 3 2/2s, like that's not enough. You need a lot more than that.
Yeah, your big combo.
But I mean, they do have like Chain Gang and Doubling Imp and stuff, so they can go pretty wide. The games I played against Zul'jin have been like I've been losing to a wide board of garbage minions. So
that's what they tend to do, but they are always getting a deal out of it. Like Saronite Chain Gang, they're investing 1 card for 2. They're always doing that kind of thing. The egg and the spell is kind of the opposite. They're like spending 2 cards and like I guess they're getting 3 2/2s, but like that's not as good. That's not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, not for 2 cards.
Yeah. When there's so many other efficient options.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, that doesn't even really play that well with the card that buffs stuff in their hand, like whereas a lot of the other ones do, like Chain Gang and Doubling Imp.
Yeah. I mean, buffing the egg in your hand means it can attack, so that's kind of good.
I mean, I have no idea if this is good enough for Wild, but that would be a lot better in Wild when you have like Mirror Egg and Haunted Creeper.
Yeah, Wild sounds like the place for that 1 mana card, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. You know what we're talking about, listeners. Like Grim something? Grim Patron? Grim Sacrifice? Is that it?
I think it's gotta be Grim Patron.
Yeah, I think it's Grim Patron. That's the one we're talking about.
It's called Grim Rally.
Okay.
Yeah,
close.
I didn't think it had Grim in it. I thought you were completely wrong.
No, I thought that it had Grim, but I don't know. There's only one Grim card in an extremely Grim card in Hearthstone, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
The Grim Patron was a cool deck. That was a cool Bloomsday deck. It's unfortunate it's not around anymore.
There's Arena Patron.
That's true. That card's not the same at all.
I mean, it would still be really good if Warsong Commander did what it used to do.
That's a great point. That is to be fair. You are completely correct.
That's all we're missing.
If Warsong Commander was still good, yeah. That's so funny. Has Warsong Commander been nerfed more than once? I think it has.
Yeah, I think it used to just give all your minions charge.
That's stupid. You can't print that card. That's you can't do that. That's dumb.
They eventually found that out the hard way, but not quickly enough. They're like, if it's got 3 or less attack, it's not going to be a big deal. Like, well, Enraged Worgen has 3 attack. And I definitely dealt 28 to a bunch of people in 1 turn with that guy.
Yep. That's so silly.
Those are fun times.
Definitely.
Of Hearthstone.
Yeah, that was a good time. That was the golden days of Warrior, I think.
Yeah. And now Charge gives Rush.
Yep, exactly. That's pretty embarrassing.
It's
probably where X cost 3.
I can't believe Patches doesn't have Charge. I was thinking about it the other day, like, wait, is this really real? Am I awake right now?
Yeah.
How does Patches not have Charge? He's in charge now. It's like the only thing he does.
Yeah, man. It's I mean, changing the battle. We've mentioned this before, but changing the battle cry is incredibly sad.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that card, I just can't see it. It's just like it's like seeing a person who like destroyed their life. Like they had like a reasonable life. They just made bad decision after bad decision, and like they have like nothing left anymore. And it's like that. That's the experience I get when I see Patches hit the battlefield.
Almost unrecognizable a shell
Yeah.
of their former selves.
Right. It's like you kind of turn away so that you pretend you don't see them. It's just not, yeah. Anyway, so what's Priest doing? Nothing?
Think
Oh,
nothing.
yeah, that's
There's
cool.
definitely some people playing test subject decks with the quest and mass hysteria, and
That's
they just
silly.
kind of grind out the game and play dead ringers and loot hoarders, and then in one turn play a stone tusk boar with 1,000 health, and then give it charge and switch its health with its attack. That is what some people are doing. I think people are still playing the Resurrect Priest, but not a whole lot going on. I think there's also some Even Lock, as well as the Zul'jin, for Warlock, which has more than one deck. But no, I think Priest has about 0 decks.
Yeah, I also saw like the APM Priest,
Yes.
Stone Tusk Boar builds, various iterations of that. As you were mentioning, like Dead Ringer decks. But I don't know if I haven't seen it. Like I haven't played against it. I saw it on Twitch when I was like looking to see what people were playing.
Me too.
That's basically the only place I've seen it. And yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe that deck will. I don't know. I have weird feelings about the deck. I wonder if even if that deck was really powerful, if it could ever become commonly played.
I have the same thoughts after having tried to play it and doing a horrible job.
Yeah. Same here. I mean, like, not only is it an incredibly skill-intensive deck, which like keeps decks off of being highly played. It's not like an aggro deck, it's a combo deck, and it's actually a terrible deck to play if you're on mobile.
Yeah, it's like basically impossible.
Yeah, like if that deck, I feel like Blizzard would have a serious problem on their hands if that deck ever became incredibly good, because it would make the player base feel horrible. To like, I can't play the best deck because I'm using this platform. It's like PS2 limitations, right? It's just like it's the worst thing ever to hear that, to be like, oh, these people on this platform just like can't have access to the best thing because their controller doesn't work the same way.
That would be stupid, and it would
be incredibly stupid.
But clearly they coded it this way for a reason. So they would have to. It wouldn't be easy for them to just add the functionality of the PC to the phone. That clearly they couldn't just. Oh, well, just do that. Problem solved.
Yeah, that's
more
not
complicated than that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can come up with all sorts of suggestions that are like, conditional turn lengthening and stuff like that, and that's fine. But I think at the end of the day, you probably just want to nerf the deck.
Yeah, you probably just don't want anyone doing that to anyone.
Yeah, that would be a miserable time. That would be really horrendous. Because just imagine, if you're a designer, you really don't want to come up against that kind of issue. That's a very annoying reason to be limited and to have to be forced to change the game.
Yep. Though they've done it before, and if they have to do it, they have to do it.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I think it would be correct under that circumstance if that deck ended up actually seeing a lot of play. I think it would be correct to just kind of make it disappear.
Nerf some stuff, just change how test subject works, or make something too expensive for the deck to be good.
Yeah.
It's not
for sure
a fun thing to play against, because you'll always have to watch them do the combo to see if they mess up.
Yeah, absolutely, because it is like a pretty skill-intensive combo.
So you'll just be sitting there watching people blow you up with Stone Tusk Boars very slowly and clumsily, instead of at least being put out of your misery quickly by a quest rogue.
Yes. You know that you can concede to the quest, like if they vanish and then quest or something, like vanish prep quest. You know that you can just like click the next game.
Yeah,
button.
They're not going to accidentally like attack their minion with their Stone Tusk Boar. They're definitely going to kill you with it.
Yeah,
that's not skill intensive. Pointing and clicking.
Maybe I should play some APM Priest. That seems like fun. I think Shutterwalk Shot would be more fun though.
Both sound like a really enjoyable time for the person playing them.
Yes. And not the other person.
Not the other person at all.
No, but it's zero sum. You're supposed to make the game less fun for your opponent. You're supposed to like add them afterwards and insult them.
And their family.
It's like yeah. No, you really just wanted to face everybody they're associated with.
Ideally.
That's part of the game. Yeah, it's part of the experience. I think that's every class.
It sounds like every class.
Yeah, we did not do Blizzard order. We did no particular order, which is a very good
It's
order.
the best order.
Um,
To loop back
I think
to
so.
Hunter, whom we started with.
Okay.
We're
Going for round 2.
Round 2 of Rexar's Rumble. The deck, the class, is it too good? Does it need to be nerfed? I mean,
that's a good
hard
discussion.
to say right now because this is pretty early, but it does seem,
I'm firmly in no on that right now.
pretty dominant, and like when this happened with Druid, they had to do something about it. They had to nerf some cards when Druid was over 25% of the metagame, or 30.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's it's definitely worth discussing right now. I think it's far too early right now, because every other class is in flux.
Mm-hmm.
So Hunter just had one of the most powerful decks. It had a couple of the most powerful decks, and it gained basically a new archetype with Secret Hunter here, or just one of its shitty archetypes became good archetype. So it's right now, and it was a really lateral and obvious change. All you had to do is just add more spells and play Zul'jin and take out some certain cards. But every other class is more complicated than that, and all their lists are being fluxed. So the stats are very misleading right now because, like we said early on, Zul'jin does have deck building constraints. So the deck lists that involve Zul'jin are pretty limited. So a lot of those decks are probably already pretty close to optimized, but no other class is optimized yet.
Yeah, I definitely don't have the optimal, the Undertaker, Silver Vanguard, Immortal Prelate list yet, but
no,
I'm
definitely
sure
not.
when I get there, it'll
be
be very competitive.
Yeah, I believe you.
You believe that I believe that.
Yes, I believe that you think it's going to be competitive. I mean, I don't know. To be fair, you did Theorycraft Taunt Druid, and that's pretty cool.
And it's still around, apparently.
Yeah, it's still a deck in a completely different form, but it's still, the concept is still there.
That'll survive rotation because that's basically just Hadronox and Witching Hour, and those are both Witchwood.
Oh, Hadronox is Witchwood?
I thought it was. Or is it Kobolds?
Oh man, let me look that up. I feel like it's I feel like I'm just wrong and it's Knights of the Frozen
Oh really? Oh no.
It is Knights of the
Oh,
Frozen
it's Giant Spider, Witchwood.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's also Death Rattle stuff. But I agree with you. That is very Witchwoody type card. Now that you mention it.
Oh, so we will lose that. Well, either way, yeah, that's gonna be one less Druid deck.
Yay! Well, it's also an Ultimate Infestation. That's great. That's fantastic.
But I think you're right. The Hunter kind of just had an unfair advantage in its development.
Yes, yeah, I agree with that. So it seems to me if I had to guess, if I had to gamble on it, I'd say that its play rate will go down and other decks' play rates will go up as the weeks pass.
That makes sense.
If it stays like this, yeah, maybe balance adjustment is required somewhere. Maybe Emerald Spellstone.
That's exactly what I would say.
Yeah, I feel like that card is really good.
It basically seems like it's just one tier above every other Spellstone.
Yes.
If it wasn't that one, then it would be 1 3/3 wolf, 2 3/3 wolves, and 3 3/3 wolves. If it was some different hunter class in a different that isn't present world hunter got this card and they needed it to fit in with the 8 other spellstones, every single stage of it would summon one less wolf. But somehow it's it's starting at it's the lesser one is the regular size one. And you start with regular and then you get to greater and then you get to super size. And Hunter's just working with one tier higher of a spellstone. And I think that obvious disparity in power and just how integral getting that off early is to them really dominating games are good reasons for it to be a target for a nerf.
I think so too. Yeah, I feel basically exactly the same way. It's just you keep it in your mulligan, and if you play even one secret, it's just incredible. I think nerfing it down would I don't know. That feels it on one hand, like it feels like the weakest version is then horrendous, where every other weak version is at least like
Hmm.
okay, with the exception of maybe like priest and shaman. Um, but like warlock and druid, for example, they're lesser versions or like playable cards. But 5 mana for 3P wolf is not.
Yeah.
But like on the other hand, getting it to the greater state is a lot easier than other classes.
So yeah, maybe that's what they nerf. Maybe it should just be
Yeah.
2 secrets to upgrade.
Yeah, that would be another thing to do. That might be like a little too much. You really just kind of want like 1.5, but can't really do that.
Then they can maybe make it cost 6.
Yeah, that would be a lot better too.
Um,
Because that would 6 for a bunch of 4/3/3s is still a fantastic deal.
yeah, that I guess that goes into the realm of, well, is that enough of a nerf? But they might touch more than one card.
Yeah, totally. It's also like not even clear if that's warranted. This is all in a speculative world
Hmm.
where somehow the optimized versions of all the other decks are just not as good as Hunter.
Exactly. The hunter play rate and win rate both appear to be inflated for the reasons you described. They just had these super powerful decks that could very easily take in the benefits of Rastakhan's Rumble, um,
Mm,
making it Rexar's Rumble. But the other
yeah.
classes still have a lot to figure out. And then that's more evidence of this. Well, what else is winning right now? Kind of just other stuff that already existed, like Odd Paladin.
Yes, yeah. That deck's like Eternal. That's just been at the top of like the all rank HS replay since it came out.
And
It's
yeah,
just
if it ever disappears for a little bit, it always comes back.
yeah. I mean, it's a deck that requires 0 cards to be good. Well, I'm sorry, 1 Baku, but like that's it.
You're good.
Oh, the rest of it's got 29 flex slots. Um,
It's true though.
yeah, that is. Yeah, I mean, it's like 29 is obviously an exaggeration. You kind of always want level ups in there,
But you
but
can play Raid Leader.
yeah, exactly. Like you can play Raid Leader or you can play Stormwind Champion. Like I think the optimized lists don't run that, but like if you don't have some of the cards, and throw that in there. It's fine. It's going to
That's
do
how
well.
little it matters what cards you use. You can just throw in Stormwind Champions and Raid Leaders.
Yeah, that's fine. Just like, oh, these I only have basic cards. Let me do it. Like, oh, this card wrecked me in Arena. Let me put them in my constructed deck.
Giggling Inventor got nerfed?
Yeah.
It's still fine.
Yeah, right, exactly. Oh, it's still odd. I'm not going to take it out. Yeah, so that's that remains to be seen. Do you think that that's a reasonable place to wrap up?
Yeah, the meta, I think the correct way to look at it is maybe be like, I was hoping there would be more change and stuff like that, but like you said, it takes time.
Yeah, for sure. It's yeah, I mean time is the key here. This is not something that gets solved instantly, and it gets solved, faster if there's more availability of statistics. And like the S report just came out, so next week we'll probably see something completely different. If we don't, then maybe there's a problem, but who knows?
Yeah, way too early to decide whether or not there's a problem. For sure.
Yes, for sure.
That's the only thing we know, is that we don't know.
Yeah, definitely. But if you want to know, if you want to be in the know,
Yeah.
you want to just cross that barrier from not knowing to knowing, you can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/lastturnhs or facebook.com/lastturnhs.
Nice.
As always, you can find our content on the internet in various places. So iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, those are all examples of places you can find us. You can also find us on Player FM and Pocket Cast, Beyond Pod, and TuneIn. Yeah, I don't actually know if those platforms have updated content. It kind of depends on whether they read directly from our RSS feed, because we have to upload episodes. I definitely have not been doing that. So you can find us on YouTube. That is some of our episodes do get uploaded.
Yes.
And our spoiler is visual there, so you can actually see images of the cards as we talk about them in real time. If for some reason you haven't really gotten around to playing with these cards, maybe you've been busy shopping or something for Christmas or whatever holiday you happen to celebrate. But yeah, come check that out. And yeah, this has been a fun set, and I hope it continues to be as fun and maybe has a little less Zul'jin.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Definitely. We will catch you guys next turn.
See you next turn, folks.